Hi, and welcome to the Return Homestead. Today I'm going to be working on processing the mullein leaves that I had already dried into a tincture. So come join me. January is usually a month where I try to catch up on things in the pantry. Now, when we got ready to move from the other house, everything was coming into harvest and we didn't have time to both move, harvest, and process. So what I did is I went out into my herb garden and harvested what mullein I could. I have flowers and the leaves, and they were all dried, and I've already had them infusing. Now these have been infusing since July. You can use the flowers, you can use the root, you can use the leaves. Every part of the plant is okay. And I use it because I ended up getting a lung infection when we were redoing the depot. I tincture it. I don't like to use mullein in a tea. You really have to filter it. It has little hairs on it and you want to get those out. That's a real pain for me. I'm a lazy cook, so I tincture mine. If you've watched any of my older videos, I talk a lot about mullein and what it's used for. Go ahead and do your research. But for me, I make a tincture out of it, and then I put it in these glass bottles. Now I save all of my amber, blue, whatever bottles that I have, I save them and I repurpose them. You can also order them, but what I end up doing is I'll label each one of these bottles and I put a dropper full in my tea in the morning. If my tea's hot, the alcohol seems to dissipate for me, so I don't taste it at all. But I use mullein all year long. I ended up getting something called winter lung. So when the air turns really cold, I get a lot of lung pain. And I don't want anything building up in my lungs. And this is an expectorant, so it pushes it out. You can do what you want to do. You can drink the tea. You can inhale the smoke. They used to do that for cattle that had upper respiratory infections. They would just roll it up and burn the dried leaves, and the cows would inhale it. Again, do your research. This is my go-to in the wintertime to keep my lungs healthy. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to take mullein leaves that are dried, so you'll crunch them, make sure they're fully dried, otherwise they will mold. And you're going to put them in a jar, and I usually fill the jar about this full. And then you're going to cover it with a cheap vodka to extract the beneficial products out of the mullein. Again, you can use the flowers, the leaves. The flowers don't come on the plant the first year. They come on the second year. They're a biennial. What I'm going to do is take a piece of cheesecloth and put it in a strainer to strain the leaves out. You want to let this sit about 6 weeks. This has been going much longer, but it's not going to go bad. Ooh, and it's sealed on me. Okay. And you're going to pour it through the cheesecloth to strain off the alcohol so that it's pure. Now basically what I do, and I've shoved this in there, by the way, as you can see, You can put as much or as little as you want. I want the tincture to be as strong as possible. And then I'm going to press it to get as much of the liquid out as I can. And as you can see, it's no longer clear. It's very green. It's kind of an olive green. Now once you get that all pressed out and you get all of the tinctured mullein out, you're going to put it in you want a bottle that is either amber, blue, whatever. It helps to protect the herb and it doesn't degrade it at all. And this will stay on the shelf for quite a while. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and pour this into the bottle. And what I'll do is take a dropper full. Now the dropper is not going to fill all the way up, but I take a full squeeze of the dropper. I put it in my tea in the morning, and it helps to keep my lungs healthy. Again, you can make a tea out of it, you can make a tincture out of it, or you can smoke this. I use the tincture. So now I have my tincture. Now once all my bottles are full, I only harvest in the late summer, early fall, and that will give me enough mullein to last me throughout the year. So once you have mullein, you'll always have mullein. They will reseed themselves. Pretty soon you'll have a mullein jungle. It's a great thing to plant around your bees. They love it.
So you got the mullein tincture all put together?
Yeah, I did.
I got the fence rolled out here. Got the wrong staples, but I think we're going to make this go anyway. There is a correct kind of staple to use on fencing. I'm not using that currently. I'm going to make this work because I'm ready to get this thing stretched up and keep the dogs off the property. Well, we're tying off to the old fencing. They fortunately left us an ace brace right at the end, so all I've done is thrown up the T-posts with a cross brace here to make sure this post doesn't move, and then we'll also tie it off to the wooden post. And now I'm just tying the fencing off to the wood, and we'll secure it to this post as well before we start pulling it. And once we get it secured here, we'll start stretching it down the line. Try to get about 100 to 120 pounds of pressure on the fencing. And once it's all nice and tight, we'll go ahead and clip it off to the T-posts, and this little section will be done. Then I've got to make the turn and go down the long section. So I'm just going to keep pounding staples in here. Once I've got that done, I'll pull some of these cross pieces off, wrap the wire around, tie it off nice and tight, and we'll get this thing stretched out. We may eventually come back with a piece of barbed wire or hot wire across the top, but for right now this will at least keep the dogs out. Yeah, they've been up there in the sky pretty much all day.
So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Keep your lungs healthy, and until we see you next time, thank you, God bless, and bye-bye.